This is the concluding episode of the Nutty English Quiz with Dr. Shashi Tharoor. It's not on millennial slang, but on proper English. So the big daddy of English nuts should ace it, right? Let's find out. Dr. Tharoor, thank you so much for doing this.
That is the most unusual introduction I've had, but thank you.
All right. So, you know what a euphemism is? Can you define that for us?
Yeah, so euphemism is when you're trying to use a polite word to mask something much more nasty.
Right.
So you might say poo rather than a four-letter word for what people do out there.
English is notorious for, leaving non-native speakers scratching their head because there's just no science to how to pronounce certain letters or pronounce a group of letters. So OUGH is one of the sort of
worst.
So could you tell us some of the different words in which OUGH is pronounced differently?
Well, like, through and thought have the same OUGH.
Right.
Right? The bough of a tree and say ought, same OUGH. What else can you think of? Cough.
Yeah.
It suddenly takes an F sound, which is not there in the other thing.
Right.
But it's also spelled OUGH.
Yes.
Enough.
Yeah.
So, cough and enough, apart from the C versus the EN, it's still OUGH. One is cough, the other is enough. Yeah. So you just have to know the language.
So you've got about 5 of them. There are 10 ways that you can do it. So I'll just read out something. The wind was rough along the loch, which is Irish actually, but it's a cheat. The wind was rough along the loch as the thorough ploughman fought through the slough, and though he hiccuped and he coughed, he thought only of his hocked horse.
Yeah.
So hocked is OUGH as OCK, and hiccuped is OUGHED as like upped. Yeah, so these were the one. Okay, what is a palindrome?
So palindrome is when you can actually look at the letters from left to right or right to left and they come the same one.
Right.
The famous one is Madam, my Madam, which is what
can you think of
he said to Eve, allegedly.
Right. And can you think of the name of a language?
Malayalam.
Yes.
No, these are the classics of palindrome. Actually, some people have spent time constructing rather longer sentences than this.
Yeah.
Able was I ere I saw Elba, Napoleon said.
There's apparently a book called A Man, a Plan, a Canal, Panama, which is also a palindrome. All right, what is a portmanteau and what was a portmanteau originally and what is a portmanteau word?
So portmanteau originally was just a large bag when you traveled with it, because port means to carry in French, and therefore from Latin, and manteau is your coat. Yeah. So it had to be large enough to carry your coat, but it just became a big bag. And from the big bag idea, portmanteau word is a word that incorporates many things in it. Yeah. So you've probably got a couple of examples right there. I can't immediately think of one of them off my head. But
so there's one that India has given the English language.
A portmanteau word?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
It's Bollywood, which is Bombay plus Hollywood.
Yeah.
But who was the guy who actually used portmanteau to talk about?
Mark Twain?
No, it was Lewis Carroll.
Oh, was it really?
Yes. Okay. And he came up with quite a few of them, like chortle and galumph. Are you familiar with his nonsense verse, his poem, The Jabberwocky?
Of course.
Could you...
I couldn't recite it from memory, but I can read it aloud if you want me to.
Yes, I'd like you to. This is the first two.
This is from Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There.
Yeah.
'Twas brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves and the mome rats outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub-jub bird and shun the frumious bandersnatch. Very, very clever. I mean, he just made up these words left, right, and centre. And they really... one of them I remember becoming very popular in the Billy Bunter books was Frabjous.
Frabjous, which is fabulous and something else.
I don't know. It wasn't meant to be fabulous. No, it was actually slightly negative because Bunter kept being called you fat Frabjous frump by various of his more disparaging classmates.
What is slithy?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it comes from slither.
It's lithe and slimy.
Lithe and slimy, there you are. Yeah. Like a snake, slithering.
Yes. So, because apparently toves are like badgers. So they're lithe and slimy badgers. And gyre is to go around and gimble is to go to bore into, and the wave is supposed to be the wet side of a mountain. I looked this all up, of course. And mimsy is supposed to be miserable and flimsy. So anyway, so he coined a whole lot of these.
And Borogoves?
Borogoves.
Sounds very Bengali.
Yeah, boy, it does. So Borogove apparently a type of parrot.
Parrot?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He made up, I mean, like Bandersnatch is a dangerous animal, and the Jub bird is a dangerous bird. And this is apparently an extinct variety of parrot, a Borogove.
Okay, a Borogove.
Which rhymes with toe.
And there'll be a Chotogove somewhere.
Right. Okay, which Indian city has become a verb?
Indian city has become a verb. Which Indian city has become a verb? I know Calicut became a piece of cloth in Calico.
Calico, yeah.
But becoming a verb...
This has to do with outsourcing.
Oh, Bangalore.
Yes, Bangalore.
Yes, my job's been Bangalore.
Yes.
The Chinese have, being Shanghaied,
Shanghai.
which includes being kidnapped and taken away to another country.
That was one of my other questions. And what's the third one based on a city, which is not a city that exists anymore, but is a biblical one?
Or sodomized, yes, of course.
So these are the three verbs.
Sodom and Gomorrah, yeah. But there's also Puri, which you can eat.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm sure there are other city names that have lent themselves to creative use. But anyway, go on.
So are you familiar with the Ajit jokes from?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So do you know an Ajit joke which is inspired by Shakespeare's Hamlet?
No. Oh, to be or not to be, no?
So he says, Robert is say to be say not to be kar do.
To be say not to be kar do. That's right.
So this is a really silly one, but how many times can you say floxy-nausy-nihilipification in 30 seconds?
Oh, I should imagine about 8-9 times, no?
Can you say
Want to time me?
Yeah.
Floxy-nausy-nihilipification, 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 floxy-nausy-nihilipification.
9, I think.
9.
So you got 9, so that's fantastic. So is there anything that, as the unofficial English teacher to the nation, you would like to say?
These days, all I can say is I wish my Hindi were better.
But I was, very impressed that your Hindi is it's very perfect and classical.
Ooh, that's far too kind. It's far from it. In fact, I still have the perennial South Indian problem with gender in North Indian languages.
As a Bengali, I wouldn't know about
Yeah, because you don't have gender either, exactly.
Yeah.
And nor does English. So, why on earth does a bed have to be masculine and mattress have to be feminine, or maybe it's the other way around? I'm not sure. At least with French, more or less, it's to do with linguistic logic.
Right.
Whereas in Hindi, it has to do with substantive logic. It's very difficult to figure out.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Doctor.
He's the English nut. Bye for now.
Your cough is quite off now. Dr. Shashi Tharoor is the big daddy of all English nuts. It's only appropriate that this English nut interviews him. So it's a dream come true. Watch all episodes of Dr. Shashi Tharoor chatting with me about the English language. Do subscribe to The English Nut on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. From one English nut to another, thank you.